Hi, peace and love to all of you. I'm trying to do a story. I'm trying to tell a story about a man who did something great. And um, he affected my life, so I can tell you what I experienced knowing this person. So I'm going to attempt to do that here. Um, I came to the Carolinas. It was my home. My parents had passed, and I came here. I had two sons, and it wasn't where I wanted to come to, but it was the destiny that God said, this is where you have to go, and he made sure I got here. I put up a fight, but he won. And after I got here, I started to meet different people who I never knew, who affected my life in such a great way that I had to say, wow, look at this. This is a very nice person. They'd come and help me with my sons and tell me what they needed to do. And I met one gentleman. He'd say, these boys need to play football, you know. You want them to become strong men, then you need to let them play football. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm kind of scared. They might get hurt, you know. So I started saying all of that. And he said, no, I'm going to take them. And his name was Richard Adams. He was the first person I encountered. And he said, well, I'm going to take them and, you know, just let them see what happens. You'll see they won't get hurt. So he started taking them to practice into the little recreation centers and letting them play. And he came back and he would tell me stories about it. He said, no, you need to let them get into sports and play. He said, they're really into it and they like it. So I think they'll be very good. I said, well, okay. So I let them go and start going with him. So one day he came back and he said, well, I signed them up to play. And if you don't want them to play, I just won't, we could just not take them. But I signed them up and, you know, they're going to play football. But if you don't want me to, I won't let them play. So I went on and let them play. He said, you'll see, you'll be happy because they're going to be very strong men. And as I go along, I started meeting different people. But the unique experience I had was Kamal. He would come home, my youngest son Kamal would come home and he said, Mom, I met this coach. He is so cool. I said, he is? He said, yeah. He said, he for real. He not like some of those other coaches, man. He be concerned about you. And he tough now, but he is so cool. I like him, Mom. You know, I said, oh, yeah. So we went along, and every time I would have a question about something he was playing sports or doing, he said, go ask Coach Kersey, go ask Coach Kersey, you know. And I started laughing. I said, okay. He said, go talk to him. He'll tell you just what you need to do. So he had already become his confidant. He believed in him, Coach Kersey. As soon as he met him, it was like, this man is for real, and I believe in him. So he'll lead me in the right direction. He knew that even before I had met Coach Kersey. He had built up a friendship, and he felt like he was family. You know, he'd be at his house and go meet his children and his wife and his whole beautiful family. He said, Mom, he has a beautiful family, a beautiful wife, beautiful children. And he would go there, and he felt at home. He was very comfortable with Coach Kersey. But he had something about him that would make people feel that way. As I learned later on, as I got to know him, he was just one of those kind of people that you would feel comfortable with, because he would make sure that you felt comfortable after he got to know you, and he would talk to you. And he wouldn't be all nice and sweet. He'd make jokes and say little things to you, you know, and perk you up and like, well, you're going to have to do this or you're going to have to do that. Now, come on now. You know, he would say that, you know, tell you just how it really was. And I think people could accept that, you know. That's how you start passing out a lot of love, because when you're for real with somebody and just tell them how it is, then they can embrace you and they can feel the love. And so as time went on, he had Kamal trying everything. He said, I like this kid. He tough. He can try all kind of sports. So he was playing football, and Coach Kersey would tell him, and then Kamal grew up, and we got to the point where it was time to, we're going to go to college, and we trying to think about, Kamal had already said he wanted to be in the NFL. He started saying this at a very early age. I'm going to be in the NFL, and that's what I want to do. I said, you sure that's what's wrong? He said, yes, that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. So he started talking to Coach. He said, I've been talking to Coach Kersey about it. And he knows some people and he know how that works. I said, well, okay, good. At least we got a start here. We know somebody that know how the process works and know what goes on. So he kept on hanging out with Coach Kersey. Coach Kersey was his other family, him and his wife and his children. He'd go over there and hang out and do stuff, and Coach Kersey would work them out. And so then one day, Coach Kersey told him, say, he can wrestle. I want him to come and try out for wrestling. I said, you sure? He said, come on and watch it, Miss Rosie. He used to call me Miss Rosie. I would always go there. So I said, okay, I'm going to watch. I said, Coach Kersey, I'm scared. Oh, they look like they're going to get hurt. Look at him, how he holding them around the neck. So Miss Rosie, they'll be all right. There's nothing wrong. He can handle it. I was so afraid of wrestling. Like all the other sports, I was like, well, okay. I was scared of football at first. That was nothing compared to wrestling. Basketball was okay. He wasn't that interested in basketball. But wrestling, he seemed to like it, and it just scared me to death. I'm like, Coach Kersey, you sure he can do this? Yeah, he good. I can tell he'll be good at this. So Coach Kersey kept working, and I'm sitting in the stands cringing, like, oh, can he get up, I was sitting there cringing, and Coach Kersey looking over there, laughing at him. Go ahead, come on, do this. You know how to pin him. Hollering out from the side. So Kamal made it through that. So he worked with Kamal. Kamal went to the state championship the first time he wrestled. He said, boy, I said, Coach Kersey, he said, see, I told you he could do it. This is the first year he ever tried wrestling, and he went all the way to the state championship in Columbia. We all down in Columbia. I'm all nervous. Kamal looking all straight. Coach, I said, can you imagine how good he is? If he should have started earlier, because he made it all the way to the championship in the first time he tried it, I said, wow. I said, but Coach Kersey, you're right. He did. He can do it, He said, I knew he could do it. I saw it in him. But the thing about Coach Kersey that I really admired, and as I observe him, because here's this strange person I never knew before, and all of a sudden he's in our lives, very thick. My son is like, this is family member here, and he talked about him. He talked about his parents, and man, his dad can cook some good chicken. Man, you got to try his dad's barbecue chicken, Mom. His dad could cook, and he would say it like that. I said, well, he said, yeah, you got to try it. And he would always talk about it. And I worked at the school, and I would observe the children and talk to the children about Coach Kersey. And the most unique thing that astonished me, I discovered as I was talking to the children, Coach Kersey was an awesome, unique person. I realized, I said, he got to be a messenger, a missionary, or something to these children, because as I talked to the children, I discovered that the ones who were very weak, Coach Kersey would encourage them and make them feel like they was the greatest thing on earth, and he would build up their strength until they became strong. And I thought, wow, look at that. I could observe that from being on the sideline, that this person here was doing this for children, because I hear them speaking about it and telling about what he make them do and how they do it and how they felt and what he did to them. And then the strong ones, they'd be laughing. Man, I had that. I knew what I was doing. I was tough. Coach Kersey said, come here. You can do better than that. I know you can do better than that. And they would tell me, and they say, now, I thought I had it going on, and I was very strong. But he made me stronger. He showed me that, nah, you can do better. He said, that's all you can do. You talking about you got? He would make them do more. So to me, if I meet anybody that's awesome and unique and can inspire that in a child, because I always loved children and I always wanted to be an inspiration to them myself. So I could quickly relate to him, because all I saw was these children being inspired by this person and gaining strength where they needed. And he would just make them work hard. He wouldn't give them no breaks. I mean, he wasn't, patting them and saying, okay, it's going to be all right. No, he made them work really hard. He toughened them up, and then he showed them love. They automatically knew he cared. He didn't have to say it and do anything. He'd talk all kind of things to them, say, talk, Jonathan, you ain't no good. You got to do better than that, And they would still be like inspired, because he has worked them so hard, but they can feel his energy in his heart. They knew he cared about them. And I've learned working with children in the schools and different, children know when you care. And if you don't care, it's difficult for you to get anything out of them. They're not going to progress to what you want them to be until you show them that you care. And Coach Kersey was one of the first people that I encountered, first coaches, first persons that I noticed would do that with children. You know, I've seen a lot of coaches because my children start playing sport. They were very little. So I was at all the games and all kind of, I think they tried every sport it was. I don't think they played soccer, but I think they touched all the other ones. So I was there looking and met a lot of different coaches and a lot of different people. But I had never met anyone that I got to observe and see what they could give to the children. What their whole mission was making these children something unique, not just play a sport, but make them human beings, you know, strong human beings that can be inspired to go out and do great things. And when I saw that, you know, my heart was just encouraged and overflowing. He could take my son anywhere and do anything after that because I'm saying, wow, this here is an awesome guy, you know. So he went along and I kept observing what he do, and he would never say anything, or he would tell me, Miss Rosie, this is what I think. I think you should do so and so, and I think you should do this. And he would never say no more. And he said, Miss Rose, I'm going to have a camp, and it might cost so-and-so. You think you have that? I said, Coach Kersey, you know I don't have it. He said, don't worry about it. Okay, I know a lot of them probably won't have it, but we're going to work this out. So the next thing I know, he signed up a bunch of children for something using his money, you know, got them all ready to go. And you're looking at, okay, wait. Coach Kersey, he had raised money. And he'd get the parents. The parents were so inspired by him, too, that they would go out and help him raise money. All he had to do was say a word and say, well, we're going to need so-and-so because I want to take them to a camp, or I want them to go train here or go do this. And the parents would get to work, and I've never seen a group of people just work so hard to bring about what he wanted them to do, because they too were inspired by his greatness. It's people who have certain qualities and certain energies inside of them. It's easy for you to see and feel. So even adults, you get motivated by these great things because you're like, wow, this person is so for real and so cool, as the children say. He's all right. You know, he's gonna toughen you up, but he's okay. You know, I like him. I can deal with him, you know, because I heard him say other things about other coaches because they knew their spirit was not there, that their heart was not into them, you know. And children, as I has learned, they need that. They need to know that you care about them. And Coach Kersey let them know that he cared about them, and he cared about all children, and he didn't pick one. He liked all of the children. He inspired the children. And every time I saw him, mostly, he had his own children with him. So to me, this here is a great person. And so one day I was talking to him, and I've observed all this and pulled in all this information, and I'm looking at this guy's dad. So I said to him, you know, I said, where you come from? Because I've never met anybody like you. I said, you must not be from the South, okay? He said, Miss Rose, I tell you, we grew up here. I'm from the South. He said, what you mean, where I come? I said, I just never met a person like you around here, and I'm just in awe, you know, about who you are. He started laughing at me. He said, Miss Rose, Miss Rose, you so funny. I started laughing at her because he was like, listen to her. She think I'm from another planet or something, because I'm so unique and I love these children. He just loved them. That's what he did. He loved them, and it was natural, and it came right from his heart. And when I wanted to meet his parents, I said, wow, I wonder, he got to have some awesome parents. If he's this kind of person, I got interested, because I'm that type of person. I got interested. I said, well, I want to know the rest of the family. I said, because if he's this unique guy, then he had to come from some really good stock, as the wise ones used to say. And my parents used to say, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. That was one of their old sayings. And it inspired me. I wanted to meet his family and his parents. I said, they have to be some awesome people. Because if they've created this guy and he's carrying on like this here all by himself, then they must be some awesome people. So when I finally did them, I said, yeah, they are. And my son kept saying, yeah, Mom, they cool. And he started telling me again about how his father could cook such great barbecue chicken, and you got to taste it, you know. So I was truly inspired by them as well. And I wanted to tell them one day, you are some awesome people too, because you brought this young person here to this planet here and gave us an opportunity to experience him as a human being. And I'd like to thank you all, as I thank God for sending him to this planet and to my family. And I'm sure I speak for many families in the village whose lives he touched, and who he said something to their child, or who he went out and did something that they didn't even expect, you know. And he was good about going out. He found a way to go out and do something for that person who needed it, that underdog, as they always call them. He would find a way to go out and help that underdog and hope that he could change their lives. And I noticed one little boy, he was going through some problems with his family, and I remember him very distinctly. He didn't want him to go out and get on the wrong track and start doing things that would break down his family and destroy his life. And he kept trying to work with the little boy, and he would tell the little boy, come on, I want you to come and play so-and-so with me. And I saw him, because I used to try to talk to the little fella too. And he would tell him, come play this sport for me. You good, you strong, you can do it. I don't want you to do it. And he wanted him not to be home doing the things that he were doing, which were not legal, not good for him. But he wanted him to come out and play sports so that he could get into something that would change his life. And he kept trying with the little boy. And he never gave up, but the little boy had given up. And he ended up destroying his life, because he ended up in a place where nobody wants to be, committing some crime at a very young age. But he just worked with him all the way through to the end. And the little boy was calling him. He told me the little boy had called him one time to try and talk to him, but he couldn't get back on the track. The things that were affecting his life on the outside were so much greater than what one person could do to correct your life. But he didn't give up trying to help that person. And I saw that many times over and over, because I was in the environment a whole lot by working at the schools and around the children and listening to them, what they would say and do, and listening at him, what he would say to them. But he was such a humble man. You would have never known many of the great things that he had done, because he would never talk about them. He'd come and ask, as if you're the parent, he'd say, well, you need to do so-and-so needs to be done. Now, can you do it? Or do I need something like that? He'll say. And if you said, well, Coach Chris, I don't have no money for that, or I can't, he wouldn't say anymore. The next thing you know, he's done this. You coming, I'm like, what happened? Your child is coming and say, well, I'm going so-and-so. Coach, I said, well, this is where you get the back. Coach Kersey, he came up with something. He found a way to make it happen. It's like, wow, look at that. And I just observed that so many times, and that made me just love him. You have to love him once you get to know him, because you're like, am I supposed to be loving this guy? Because this guy is great. I mean, I haven't met anyone like this. Is this right? Is it, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this not the wrong thing to do? Because you felt love for him, because he did these type of things, and he inspired you, because you're like, this person don't even know me, And here they are acting like they're my family and trying to help take care of me and help take care of my children. And you in awe about meeting a person like that. And that's where I was with him. I just always felt in awe, and he'd walk around smiling and talking to you, and like he was one of the happiest persons in the world, And he was happy when he's with those children and doing that coaching and encouraging them. He just had a light about him. His face lit up, his smile. He was very happy, but he was very serious. He wasn't no joke, and he was not playing. And he got that message over to those children. Our children, who when we're at home, it's kind of hard to get over to that. What's the important things? How you need to handle him, what it's do. He could do it with the snap. I mean, he could get he had something about him. I think it was his gift from God. That's what his mission was, to come here, do this. It wasn't enough time for us, but he had a lot of time, and he affected a lot of lives in the amount of time that he was here on this planet. It wasn't enough for us, but it was a whole lot for God, because he did many, many things, and he affected so many children's lives, you know. Just, he would come out his pocket and help a child, whatever he needed to do to help that family. You don't meet many people who are encouraged to do that. They're either totally wealthy or way beyond, or they want credit for something. But he never expected any, he didn't do it for credit. You could tell he wasn't doing it for credit. He was doing it because that's what was in his heart. And he knew that's what he was supposed to do. Not to get any credit or recognition for it, but to do it because this is me. This is just me. It's natural. This is where I come from. These are the kind of parents raised me. This is what they would want for me. And this is what God would have wanted me to do. So I'm handling the mission that I was sent out here to do. We all miss him. Every time you think about him, you think, Dad, why he had to go. He had but he had done so many. He was a powerhouse working for God, because he affect those lives, and the kind of things and the places and the hearts that he touched. That's big. That's more than $1 million worth of recognition and credit. He touched those hearts, you know. And like I say, every time I think about him, I laugh. I have to say, now where did you come from? Because I just hadn't met anyone quite like that I didn't never know. You don't know me, and you're walking around here acting like we family and I can help you with anything. He would make you feel confident that you could accomplish whatever you wanted to accomplish. And I'm so happy that God sent him into my life and my son's life. He became my son's mentor. My son wasn't with his father. He didn't really have, and he was sort of, wouldn't talk to everybody. Now, if he talked to you and he read you, and you weren't for real, then he didn't want to talk to you anymore. He would be quiet and he wouldn't say much to you. He'd go about and make jokes with you, but he wouldn't have much to say to you. However, if he talked to you and he read that, he could see that you was a real person and you was for real about him, then he'd want to hang out with you more and learn from you, and wow, how can I do this? And ask you questions and listen to you. That's what I saw. This is the man that I saw and loved. I said, wow, this is awesome. This is the man that my son saw and loved, that made him feel comfortable with the decisions he had to make, or answer the questions that he need answering, or just inspired him to just go for it, try it. And he made it to the NFL, and I thank God for that, because that was something that he wanted to do. Just because that was something he wanted to do, and he had the ability, the skills, and the confidence to go for it and try it and achieve it, because he had inspiration by Coach Kersey. He was a big influence in his life, and he often talked to him about anything that happened, anything that he thought might discourage him. He would lift him up with his words and his kindness, and he'd make him work hard. He would work him out so hard. I remember one day him and Coach Kersey were working out. He came home, he was so sore, and still he said, man, Coach Kersey, he said, I told Coach Kersey, I bet I could work hard as he could. He said, we went in that gym. So I thought I was going to die by the time I got finished with Coach Kersey. And he's a hard worker. I thought my son was one of the hard workers I had ever seen. But Coach Kersey got with him one day. That was so funny. We had a good laugh off of that, because Coach Kersey had him in that gym, and he couldn't hardly walk when he came out. And he said, Mom, Coach Kersey got me today, boy. He said, I usually be working. He said, he worked me so hard today. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was so tired when I got finished. And we always had a laugh about that, because he had really gave it to him. He didn't think, he was challenging, no, I can work harder. I'm young, I'm this. He would tease him and talk to him like that. And they had such a beautiful relationship, because Coach Kersey was that kind of person. You know, he's the kind of person that any parent they got a child out there doing something or striving to achieve anything, would like to have inspired their child. And I love talking about them. I love telling people what I witnessed. And I love telling his parents what a wonderful job they did. And it's nice to hear somebody say to you after you done struggle and use the village and everybody else to help raise your family, and somebody come along and say, wow, you did a good job, you know. Because we all, as we work and struggle and using the village, trying to raise our family, say we wonder if we doing everything the way it's supposed to be. And we wonder if we didn't do something or if we could have done more. You know, as a parent, it's just something that you do. After you raise your children, you know, you wonder if it was something else you could have done to make them a better human being, or you want greatness and you want pride in them. But we all don't have the skill to do everything, and we all can't do everything. And we're not going to all do everything right. And we're not going to be the perfect parent. However, Coach Kersey is a good example of what he was given, what he had to work with, what he took out and put in to make him that special human being. His parents get a lot of credit for that. They worked very hard. Wayne and Faye, I know they love their son. I know they did. And I know they miss him. Because every time you think about him, you're like, wow, you know, this awesome guy, why isn't he here? But God, as I told them, he had a better plan for him. He sent him here to do his mission. He touched $1 million worth of lives. And he says, okay, I have something else for you to do now. Someone had told his family how they saw him in a reflection. And he was singing on the choir. But he was singing with the angels in God's choir. Because he was letting them know that I'm in and I did what I was supposed to do. So it's all right now. We can sing for joy right now because it's all right, and that's what I'm doing. You did a great job. Your mission was accomplished. My mission was accomplished. And I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. And you should be too.